like to begin today by talking about something I received over the internet from National Catholic Reporter. There's a Jesuit by the name of Thomas Reese who wrote an article this week dealing with Pope Francis. Now, as most of us know, this is the time of his second anniversary this month when he became Pope. I'm going to quote a few lines from what he's written, and I'll talk about more of that later. In only 2 years, Pope Francis has changed the face of Catholicism by radically reimagining how it presents itself to the world. From the moment he stepped out on the balcony of St. Peter's, he was presented a different style of being Pope and a new set of priorities for the Church. The change in style was what first caught people's attention. He rejected the usual papal finery of silks and furs and presented himself to the people of God in a simple white cassock. A simple greeting, a good evening, were his first words. And before he blessed the crowds at St. Peter's Square, he asked them to pray for him. This was quickly followed by decisions not to live in the papal apartments. In fact, his first Mass as Pope wasn't celebrated in the Vatican. It was celebrated at St. Anne's, a small parish church in Vatican City. And what did he do on Holy Thursday? He went to a prison where young male and female offenders were present, and he washed their feet. These early gestures of the Pope garnered for him worldwide attention, but more importantly, they were symbolic gestures that communicated his vision to the Church. He realized that the gospel is not preached just in words, but in actions. As St. Francis of Assisi said, preach the gospel always. Use words when necessary. The Pope's early actions were a direct assault on clericalism in the Church by modeling what it means to be a good bishop, a good priest, a good Christian. The Pope's frontal attack on clericalism is an attempt to change the culture of the Church. It is a call of conversion in attitudes and practices. He made clear that he wants bishops, priests who are close to the people, so close that they are the shepherds who smell like the sheep. They should be gentle, patient, and merciful, animated by an inner poverty, the freedom of the Lord, and also by outward simplicity and austerity of life. They should not have the psychology of princesses. Leadership in the Church is about service, not power, not prestige. Of course, there's not going to be any Francis effect unless the hearts and the attitudes of people change. Too many seminaries and young priests see themselves as correctors of laity, rather than as companions in a pilgrimage to the Lord. And what the Pope wants is a poor church for the poor. He also mentions here, he says, the Church of Pope Francis is not rewarded for the perfect, but a field hospital for the wounded. In 2 years, this man has made a tremendous impact on this world. And it has not always been in words, as you all know. It hasn't been in words. It's been in action. He's living out the gospel day in and day out. He's an example to you and to me of what we need to do. We who call ourselves Christians. People want him to preach on X, Y, and Z. He doesn't need to do that. Because his example is more powerful than his words. I remember an incident that I happened to see on, I guess it was YouTube, where the physically challenged were all present at one of his Wednesday gathering. And he went around to every one of them in wheelchairs, wherever, and he embraced them. He held those people close to him. So close that the people felt this was Christ. Christ touching their lives. My brothers and sisters, we hear today how Jesus goes into the temple. How he wipes out the money changers and all the other things. Well, you and I are temples. We're temples of the Holy Spirit through our own baptism. We too need to be cleansed. We too need to be swept out. And a week from this Thursday will be spring. People in the East will be happy about that. But spring, if you remember back, particularly people who were in the east and northern part of this country, we used to, when spring came, we used to take the store windows out, put in the screens, take the winter clothes, pack them away, pull out. You all shake your heads, you know what I mean. And we open the windows and we let the fresh air in. This is what Francis is trying to do in the church. John the 23rd started it, opening the windows. And now Francis wants to open them even wider. He gives us an example for you as well as for myself. He's challenging us. And now it's time, in this spring, this Lent, for us to take the broom out and do a little cleaning of our own temples. We can graciously do that tomorrow night at 7 o'clock right here. We're having a reconciliation service. It's a perfect time to do the spring cleaning. I know many people come to confession and they don't want to go to the local priest. They'd rather go to a visiting priest who doesn't know that. Yeah, it's true. But you know, the real thing is, and I don't know if any priest has ever told you this, that when we leave the confessional, whatever it might be, we're sitting there or in a confessional, whatever, when we leave that, it's like we have Alzheimer's. We forget everything that people have told us. I don't remember. Oh, in general, you can point out different things, yes, but I don't know who said it. And I could care less who said it. The point is, people have come and they have opened their hearts. They have said, this is how I have offended someone. This is what I have done. And we give them freedom in the sense of through absolution. We send them on their way. Go forth in the Spirit of Christ. Go forth in peace and love. We don't remember what you've said. It's not important to us. You're there to ask forgiveness of God. And God in His mercy gives it to you. So don't worry if you go to a local priest or a stranger. It doesn't make any difference. Somehow, God has blessed us with that grace to forget. And it's good. So my brothers and sisters, we're on a journey. And there are many of you who go day after day through difficulties and things and hardships in your life. We're here to support you. Every one of us. We gather here to help lift one another up. To help walk with you on this journey. This journey of suffering or whatever else you may be going through. Don't be afraid to ask for help. And those who are having a good life for the most part, don't be afraid to give help to your brothers and sisters. We've been truly blessed. And we've been blessed by having a man like Pope Francis to open our eyes, to look deeper into ourselves, to look at our own truth of who we truly are and what we truly can become. He is a tremendous symbol for every single one of us. We can imitate what he does. Look at the way how he handles children and everything else that he does. He's a man who's challenging this world, challenging this church to change, not to live in the past, but to live here and now in the present. We don't have the past. We have the present. And that's what's important. And we have the future. So don't give up. Come along on this journey. The Lord will walk with you. We will walk with each other and give support to one another because of the love that God has placed in our hearts that we extend to each and every one of you. Yesterday, there was a big march in Selma, commemorating the march of 50 years ago. And it's hard to look around this country and still see bigotry. Not accepting our brothers and sisters of different color or nationality. That's not what Christ calls us to. That's not what Pope Francis has called us to. He's calling us to embrace all people. Some of my best friends are of different color. They're great people. Why do we shun away from it? That's where we drop the past and live in the present. To love one another. To serve. So let us sweep aside our temples, clean it out, and welcome new life into our hearts.